Hey YouTube and Facebook. So I'm about to do another live video since this is what I'm going to be focusing on for content this year. If you'd like to join these when I'm actually live, make sure you're following me on Instagram. And hopefully eventually I'll be able to add in YouTube as well. I just have to actually decide on what type of new computer I want to be able to do that. So let's just get right into the live show. Hey Instagram, so today's live show is going to be just kind of a bit of a free-for-all. I covered a lot of the things that I've recently wanted to talk about in my latest vlog, which I haven't actually released yet on Facebook or Instagram. And it is on YouTube already, but I had to wait until I had a minute to caption the actual video. So I decided that I would basically get a caption this morning and get it out for you tonight. So that latest vlog is going to go up tonight at 7 if you're watching this before then, which I don't know if you will or not, but it's available as of January 6th, 7 p.m. I believe is what I made it for the release. So yeah, I don't really have a specific topic that I want to cover today. There are a few things in the future that I'm going to be talking about, but as of right this second, I don't feel comfortable talking about them publicly yet, so it's gonna have to wait just a little bit. Also, you may notice I'm in a toque. It is like really cold outside, so let's see if I can get a photo up here. So the current temperature right now is negative. Well, it's in the minus 30s. It may not be exactly this right now because it is the afternoon, but it is very cold. It is minus 35, feeling like minus 40-ish. And I think it was only supposed to warm up to like minus 30 or minus 29, and then like wind chills in the minus 40s. So yeah, that's basically that. It is very, very cold outside. So that's why I'm wearing a toque, and also my hair, as you will see in the vlog, gets absolutely just really frizzy with the heater running all the time. So it bothers me when it's all frizzy and stuff. So I just decided to put it in basically kind of like a messy bun, and then put a toque over top of it so it doesn't matter and that it's out of the way for the microphone. So yeah, I guess if you're rewatching this back, just check to see what my audio levels are. I'm using my one microphone that I use to do the voiceovers basically. So the Snowball is being used for my Instagram, and then I have this one being used to record the one I record for the live on YouTube and Facebook. The one gets posted after the fact. What I'm hoping to do eventually with my content is get a webcam that can record in 1080p. I guess I could technically just use the computer now because I'm not getting any better quality now than what I would on my computer. But I find that the computer is actually a little bit more grainy. I don't know if it's the webcam is a little bit different, even though they're basically from pretty much the same year for the devices. But yeah, so that's a little bit of behind the scenes. But I do want to talk about today. I've actually been struggling a little bit with the last few days. I don't know if it's because I was due for my needle the other day, but I was having a bunch of trouble with dizziness yesterday. So I was at work, and I have to do this constantly at work. So moving my head back and forth. And if I do that really quickly and I'm having a harder day or a bad day now, basically, it can make me feel fairly dizzy. And it's like the vertigo feeling. So it's not fun when it happens, and basically it was happening yesterday, and I noticed I was having a bit of trouble with my words and all of that. So that can be signs that I'm experiencing a migraine, but I'm not really in a ton of pain. There's some tightness sometimes that I feel in my scalp, but it's not a type of pain, basically. It's not a very painful thing. The other things that can be affected when I'm having a bad day are my appetite. So I can actually lose my appetite because I get nauseous. And whenever I get nauseous, I lose my appetite. So I think that's really important to talk about, that, you know, I still am having bad days and it's not easily noticeable. I'm still kind of struggling with my words today on when I'm having a bad day. And the last couple of mornings too, it's been really hard to get up. That could be the weather, to be quite honest. That could be a lot of different things, but I'm just guessing that a lot of it has to do with how close I was to needing my needle, basically, which can be up and down actually, depending on the month, I find, and what else is going on. If I'm having a high amount of stress and a high amount of pain and my pain dial is turned up, if you're not sure what pain dial is, make sure you check out some of the work from see, this is what I mean. If you're not familiar with the pain dial stuff, I highly recommend checking out the work from one of my favorite doctors who talks about pain, is Dr. Rachel Zofnis, and her stuff in not only her chronic pain workbook, but the podcast she's done with ZDogg MD, I will say, and also the Ologies podcast is a really good one too if you want to just kind of focus on pain, although I recommend you check out all of the ones with Z as well. This is, you know, not biased at all or anything, but, you know, yeah. So check out, oh, my back is itchy. Check out those podcasts because I feel like you guys will learn quite a bit from it, and it will make you feel heard as well, which I know is something that a lot of us with chronic pain just want to have our stories heard. We want to know that what we're going through is real. It's something that you can basically relate to, somebody can relate to, and I think it's really important that we do have our stories told. That's one thing that I strongly encourage in the comments. If you're reading through any of my posts, any of my tweets on Twitter, if you're watching any of my videos, whether it be here on Instagram or whether it be on YouTube or Facebook, or if I'm talking directly to YouTube or Facebook right now, if you're watching this after the fact and you just want to leave your story, I love reading through people's stories. If you're right at the start of this, you're probably feeling quite alone. I know I did and was feeling quite alone. It's IIH in particular, because it is so rare, it feels like you're the only one on the planet that's going through it, and you're not. And having somebody who can say, I hear you, I understand you, what you're feeling is totally okay, is some of the best things that can happen when you're first in that. And reading through the experiences of others, I know I did this, but I had basically a group that I follow on Facebook, and I highly recommend you check out this group if you're on Facebook, and that is Life with IIH. There's a page, but that page also has a closed discussion group with bunch of people that are going through IIH. Now, some of us are more active than others. I basically just only catch a few of the posts every day because I'm currently in remission. But there are occasionally times where people will post on different questions that they have, different things that they're going through. Particularly, you may find answers to questions I can't. talk about because I've never had experience with it. So, for example, ICP bolt monitoring and the shunting and all of that. I will not talk about it because I don't have experience. And because I don't have experience, I feel like I don't have the expertise to talk about it. So I think it's really important that you find a bunch of different sources, basically, for information. Now, of course, talk to your doctor first because I think that's the most important thing that you can do. But if you're having trouble getting into your doctor, let's say because of COVID, or you're having trouble because you're in between specialists, I think these can be really helpful, and that's where I think support groups are really important. Now, support groups do have their downsides with the amount of misinformation that can flow in them. So my honest advice is just be careful. If there's somebody that's talking about something that sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And that's why you'll hear me talk about Aimovig in the way that I do. What I really want to stress when I talk about my Aimovig experience, not only now but in the future, is that this is something that's worked for me. It may not work for you, but that doesn't mean it's not worth the try and it's not worth the effort. I think that's really important, talking about that. I think it's important that you know what the options are, but you may not be able to directly go, okay, well, yes, these are the options, but what is the best option for me? Some people find, acetazolamide works for them. Some people find that topiramate works for them. Some people find that they don't get any benefit from any of the medications and they're struggling. And that's why we need, and I think it's important to emphasize that we need multiple treatments for IIH. There's just not a lot out there, and actually everything that is not directly for it. Now, like I said, the reason why I think I've had such success with the Aimovig is it kind of makes sense to me, not only because of my background in biochemistry, which for those of you who are new, I do have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry. So I do understand a little bit of the pathways that are involved here because I took it. And we actually spent a lot of time on CGRP and the pain response in a couple of my classes because I had one professor who was very interested in the topic, so they spent a lot of time on it. So with CGRP, basically what you're getting is it's a molecule that responds to pain. Now, my hypothesis is that and this is the language I use is very important here, hypothesis, because it can't be proven, but it's an idea that's put forward, so it's below a theory, basically. Theory in science is not the way we use it in everyday language. So with the hypothesis that I have, I honestly think what's happening is because of the amount of pain that we experience with IIH, it's resulting in CGRP becoming oversensitized over time. So the more you have IIH untreated, the harder it is for your brain to adequately respond to rising levels of CGRP. And it makes it basically freak out every time you get this rise. And so it can trigger what feels like a migraine or that really severe headache type scenario. And honestly, because IIH and migraines share a lot in common in the actual what the headache actually feels like and the symptoms too, I honestly can't tell you much of a difference. There are a few differences that are very obvious that I actually watch out for, such as the double vision being constant, such as, having different issues that I had before, which I haven't really gone into detail with, and I'm not going to right now. But with the IIH, there is very similar symptoms to migraines, and I think there's a reason for that. And the fact that another reason why I also wonder about this is because before I was diagnosed and started experiencing symptoms of IIH, I never had severe headaches. The only time I would get headaches is if I had blocked sinuses during a sinus infection or from a cold or all of that. There was never any severe headaches. I didn't have chronic headaches. Now, if I had chronic headaches before, I may not be completely convinced by this, but I think this is a very plausible thing. I'm not able to prove any of it, but it would just make sense to me on so many levels if that's what was going on, and why so many who are in remission with the optic nerves but are still experiencing severe migraine-like headaches, even though everything technically should be fine, I think makes a lot of sense as to why it's been so helpful and why it's been as particularly helpful as what it's been, because there are a lot of people with migraines who have no response to Aimovig, or very little, to the point where they discontinue. So I don't think with migraines that there's particularly one cause, and I've said that with IIH before, but I don't think that really any condition, although we may be diagnosed with the same thing, how it happens and why it happens, I think is very different for everyone. Now, some of us may share similar reasons, but I don't think it's the same for everyone. And because it's not basically caused by the same thing, why would you treat it the same way? Like, everyone is so individual. I'm hoping that come into the future that although we're given the same diagnosis and all of that, that they start to look at individual factors that go into everything that's involved in someone's disease, and not only just the biological ones, but as Dr. Zofnis talks about with the social and mental and emotional stuff as well, because biopsychosocial, basically. So you get all those different factors. And when we're talking about this, and I still haven't quite made it through that entire workbook because I haven't been able to find a hard copy of it, and it's really hard for me to read on a tablet or all of that, plus I've been working so much, is that everything is biological, social, and everything is a biopsychosocial fabric to it. So that means that there's factors in each thing. And just because you say it's psychological doesn't mean that it is made up, or that you're making it up, or it's all in your head, like what we a lot of make fun of, because our brain really is the main factor in IIH and migraines, although everything is affected by it, because the brain is a really important organ that controls a lot of different things, obviously. So, there's that too. I don't know why my back is so itchy all of a sudden, but yeah. So that's just basically the thing that came to mind today was, the different factors that go into all of this is just, it's so important to talk about it, because if you're not covering all of the reasons why you might be experiencing pain, you can't address all of them. So you guys will have heard me talk about with what has helped me the most. Weight loss and Aimovig would be biological things, right? I want to spend a bit of the time on the other things. So I am very open about talking about meditation and mindfulness and all of that, and it has been very, very important in the course of my treatment. Now, this is something I discovered on my own because of ZDogg MD. I am a supporter. What that means is that I pay a fee every month to be a part of an amazing group. Yes, I might be plugging this a little bit, but basically, in that group, we spend a lot of time talking about mindfulness, meditation, awakening. It's three of my favorite topics, basically. I also like talking about the healthcare system, because as a chronic illness patient, the system is very broken. But when we talk about those kind of things, it's the one thing that I don't know if I would have tried had it not been for the fact that medical professionals with a lot of scientific background themselves were willing to explore more. So I took up mindfulness because of the amount that it was being talked about, and basically to try to calm my brain down, because when I have quiet moments, the amount of thoughts that go through my head is numerous, or it used to be. It's getting a lot better now because I've been doing a lot of mindfulness practice, and I can't remember what I'm at, but I think I'm at like I don't even know. I don't have a screenshot of it, so I'm not going to mention how many minutes I'm at. But it's over like 25,000, I think, since I've started. And I started in July of 2019. So when I started into the mindfulness practice, it was about controlling that anxiety. That's the reason why I initially started. And then I started noticing a huge benefit with my actual migraines. Like, I noticed, oh, my migraines seem to be going down. But I was also, trying other things, so it could have been that too. But when I first started doing the mindfulness, I noticed that my anxiety definitely was helped, but that I got better doing other things in my life too, like controlling stress, which seems to help quite a bit. I noticed that I'm talking too fast again and talking without enough breaks. It tends to happen when I get something on my mind because I don't want to forget it, especially when I feel like this. So when I first tried the meditation, it was for other things completely different, but I started noticing the effect on my migraines and all of that in particular. And I'm gonna say it was migraines because at that point I think my optic nerves were doing quite well. They weren't great still, but they were doing better, and I was on the medication for it. So yeah, and then there's been other things that I've noticed with the meditation though as well. And I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to spend a ton of time on the meditation, but just basically because it's not for everybody. But, I highly recommend, if you have a jumping mind, to just give it a try just for that. Don't expect anything with regards to the IIH or migraines, but if you're like me and you have a mind that just won't basically be quiet, then I think it's something that everyone should try. I think meditation is something everyone should try anyways, but I think if you don't have a good motivating factor, it's really, really difficult to stick to. So that's what I want to get into for that, with the mindfulness and meditation. I think that has been just as beneficial to everything that I've been doing as the actual medication with the Aimovig. I really do, because it has affected, or it's had an effect on the stress, it turns on my pain dial. Stress will absolutely turn on my pain dial. If I have something that's been really stressful, and I will have something I'm going to be talking about soon publicly, I'm not quite ready to discuss it yet, as I mentioned before, but during that period when I was going through that, it was extremely stressful, and yeah, my pain was up a little bit. And whenever I took the time to think about it, but thankfully because of my meditation practice, I was able to kind of let it go when it really wasn't the center of attention. Another reason why I think the meditation is so beneficial is because I think I sleep better since doing the meditation. Like, I find I sleep a little bit better, and I don't know if it's just because I'm not stressed. I think there's so many different loops that feed back into one another that it would take a whole diagram to just explain why this has been so beneficial. Okay. So another reason why I think I'm doing well is because I've gained back some of my quality of life. I'm able to get out and do some of the things that I really enjoy. Examples of that are, enjoying time with friends again. I'm not missing as many events as what I used to in the past. There's the fact that I'm able to hold down a job. That's been huge. That's been one of the biggest triumphs of the last year. And I feel just as normal when I'm there as any other time. There's only been, I would say, a handful of days where I'm just like, I hope I don't pay for this. Because when you're doing and going through a chronic illness and you have a good day, and then you get that rebound effect where you have a bunch of bad days, I'm always afraid of that happening. I'm always afraid of pushing it too far. So far, I haven't done that to myself. It's been close, but it hasn't actually happened. And I don't know if it's because I go into the mindset of what I had when I was in university, trying to manage all this without knowing what was going on. So it's just like, okay, just get through this, just get through this, just get through this, and then you'll be okay and you can rest. And I don't know if that prepared me, or if the reason why I've been doing so well is I'm just doing better and I'm not really experiencing as much rebound effect. I feel like I feel it though on my days off. Like, I don't know if today I'm feeling a little bit worse because I actually have time to think about it being worse. That's another thing too. The whole, I would say that's more in the psycho part of it. If you have the time to think about how much pain you're in, you're going to have a higher pain dial because you're listening to it. I can tell you this from experience. It's one of the reasons why I started doing those 3D puzzles, because here, I'll see if I can find a photo here of that so that you guys can know what I'm talking about. For those of you who are just watching this on a whim, I'm not sure. Let's see how far I have to scroll back. May not have one handy. Not coming up. Okay, it might be too far back. I guess I'll have to just leave it. If you guys want to see some of my 3D puzzles, I have actually had vlogs where I've talked about that. Check out the one where I talk about my hobbies and you'll be able to see the pictures of those 3D puzzles. That's the one I suggest you check out. So, yeah. If you guys want to check out that, go ahead, and that vlog is really interesting because I talk about the importance of hobbies. And that's where I'm going to kind of leave with that, is just check out that because I talk about that in that particular video. Let's see if there's anything else I can really... No, I don't think so. I think that's kind of where I want to leave this. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today because I didn't really have anything in particular, and I will be having a video likely in a few weeks where I talk about a really important topic that I really want people to share the message and talk about this, because it's not only something that affects me, but it's something that could potentially affect thousands, and not just with migraines or IIH, but probably thousands of other chronic illnesses when we talk about getting approved for new medications and when we talk about new research for our conditions and finding something that helps. So I'm hoping to be able to talk about that, if not in January, for sure in February. So be on the lookout for that. I'll mention when the video that I talk about is really important. I could have probably talked about it today, but I just want to wait and make sure that everything is good and all of that before I do that. So with that being said, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video, whether that be a live or a vlog. Thanks for watching, and oh yeah, if you're watching this on either Facebook or Instagram, tonight will be also a scheduled vlog video. So make sure you guys check that out because it's my New Year's one and includes all the vlog footage basically that I have from December of 2021. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Alright guys, so thanks for tuning in to this particular video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already done so, make sure you go and check out my latest vlog. And thank you for all of your continued support so far. But that's it for today, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.